भगवते नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Today we are reading 8th canto, 10th chapter, the battle between the demons and the demigods and the demons from text 36 to 46. Text 36. They severed one another's heads using weapons like Bhusundis, Chakras, clubs, Prishtis, Pattisas, Shaktis, Ulmukas, Prasas, Prasavadas, Nistrimsas, lances, Parigas, Mudgaras, and Bindipalas. Text 37. The elephants, horses, chariots, charioteers, infantry soldiers, and various kinds of carriers, along with their riders, were slashed to pieces. The arms, thighs, necks, and legs of the soldiers were severed, and their flags, bows, and armor and ornaments were torn apart. Text 38. Because of the impact on the ground of the legs of the demons and the demigods and the wheels of the chariots, particles of dust flew violently into the sky and made a dust cloud that covered all directions of outer space as far as the sun. But when the particles of the dust were followed by drops of blood being sprinkled all over space, the dust cloud could no longer sky. Text 39. In the course of the battle, the war became strewn with, with the severed heads of heroes, their eyes still staring and their teeth still pressed against their lips in anger. Helmets and earrings were scattered from these severed heads. Similarly, many arms decorated with ornaments and clutching various weapons were strewn here and there, as were many legs and thighs which resemble the trunks of elephants. Text 40. Many headless trunks were generated on that battlefield. With weapons in their arms, those ghostly trunks, which could see with the eyes in the fallen heads, attacked the enemy soldiers. Text 41. Maharaja Bali then attacked Indra with 10 arrows and attacked Airavata, Indra's carrier elephant, with 3 arrows. With 4 arrows, he attacked the 4 horsemen guarding Airavata's legs, and 1 arrow he attacked the driver of the elephant. Text 42. Before Bali Maharaja's arrows could reach him, Indra, king of heaven, who is expert in dealing with arrows, smiled and counteracted the arrows with arrows of another type known as Bhala, which were extremely sharp. Text 43. When Bali Maharaj saw the expert military activities of Indra, he could not restrain his anger. Thus, he took up another weapon known as Shakti, which blazed like a firebrand. But Indra cut the weapon to pieces while it was still in Bali's hand. Text 44. Therefore, one by one, Bali Maharaj used a lance, prasa, Tomara, Rishtis, and other weapons, but whatever weapons he took up, Indra immediately cut them to pieces. Text 45. My dear king, Bali Maharaj then disappeared and resorted to demonic illusions. A great mountain generated from illusion then appeared above the heads of the demigod soldiers. Text 46. From the mountain fell trees blazing in the forest fire. Chips of stone with sharp edges like picks also fell and smashed the heads of the demigod soldiers. Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Tanat Pranam. I'm not sure of which screen is visible.
Yeah, we can see your screen with Veda-based Prabhuji.
Oh, Veda-based is showing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Let me share my video. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me an opportunity. Thank you, Pradeep Prabhu, for reading the translations today. Let me offer my prayer. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshetariणे Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukum Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayat Kriyat Kripatam Hangande Shri Karoti Nitaranam Paramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me this opportunity. So thank you everyone for joining the class. So we are in the section of battle between the demigods and the demons. So a quick recap what we have seen so far. Like Samudra Manthan Leela happened, and then the nectar finally came, and then Lord appeared in the form of Mohini Murti because demon was fighting with each other. I mean, these asuras are fighting with each other to who will take the nectar, and then demon were impressed with the enchanting beauty of Mohini Murti, and then they ask Mohini Murti to distribute the nectar within themselves. But Mohini cleverly gave the nectar to the demigods and cheated the demon. And then Lord Vishnu, in the form of Mohini Murti, returned back to in his career, returned back to his own abode. And then demon become outrageous and envious because they could not tolerate the glory and strength of the demigods, because now demigod become immortal, they become more strong. And then they raise their weapon high and they storm towards the heaven, and they wanted to fight because they were not able to tolerate this. Now we are in the middle of the war, which has already started. We have seen like how the conch shell, drums, and all the different instruments sound are coming. Animals are roaring. And the swords, clashing of swords are happening. So a lot of things we have, and then Sukadev Goswami has given so much detail that when I was reading, I can visualize that battlefield. So it's a wonderful description in that minute detail. So now we have seen in the yesterday's class, Krishna Prabhu has explained how the epic face-off happened between the Indra, Bali, Kartikya, Taraka, and then Rahu, moon god, and then so on. There are many face-off happen. So, but we can understand one thing, that this war is just not about the power. It's all about always represent eternal conflict, which is between bad and good, evil and good. Correct? We have seen this, and that same conflict happened within our heart also, between the knowledge and illusion. When we try to proceed in the spiritual path, our mind entangle us into the Maya. Maya entangle us into the our material activities. So, and we should see like these demons always fell short because they do not have a faith into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They never believe in the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in today's section from 36 to 46, these 10, 11 verses, what we're going to see, we'll try to compare all these verses as these fight between the demigod and demon is just not like a story. It is a lesson for us. It draw a picture in our mind that what happened within us also, because every day we go through this battle in day-to-day our life. I'm talking to myself, actually. At least I'm going through this battle daily, because my soul want to get closer to Krishna, but my mind, my senses pull me towards things in this material world, and that take me away from the Krishna. And this constant battle continue happen within my heart and my mind. So I will try to relate each and every verse here with that inner meaning, what I understood with the references of our acharyas. So first verse, 36. Now what we are seeing, the weapons, different weapons like chakra, clubs are used by devatas and asura, and they are trying to, cut off each other head. So if I understand this inner message, we need powerful spiritual weapons like our chanting, meditation, sadhana, our knowledge, our shastra, our surrender to the guru. Once we have our sadhana is strong, our knowledge, spiritual knowledge is strong, our surrender to the guru and shastra is strong, then we are able to cut off the head of our six enemies in our heart, which are Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Bhai, Mad, Matsar. So if our spiritual, so as Gaurang Darshan Prabhu also mentioned, if we intensify our sadhana, we were definitely able to cut off the head of our enemies. If I'll try to relate with the Bhagavad Gita, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was bewildered. He was overwhelmed because he doesn't want to fight to his kinsman. He was kind of attached. He was inflicted by the attachment. He accept, but finally, when he sat down in the chariot, he doesn't want to fight. He said, "What is the benefit of fighting with my own kinsman? I don't want to kill my guru. I don't want to kill my grandparent." And eventually, he accepted Krishna as his spiritual master, and he surrendered to Krishna completely. And then Krishna gave him the sword of knowledge in the form of Bhagavad Gita and cut all the illusion sitting in the heart of Arjuna. And then Arjuna fought. So in the next verse, text 37, now what we are seeing in the battlefield, elephant, horses, chariots, charioteers, soldiers, various kind of carriers, along with their riders. They are slashes to the pieces. Now we can see like arm, thighs, neck, and legs of the soldiers were severed. Even the flag, bows, armor, ornaments were all torn apart. So if we'll try to relate this with our inner meaning, so basically what this verse shows, this situation is total chaos. It's all destruction in the war. And uh, even flag, bows, armor, thighs, the different part of the bodies of the soldiers, nothing was spared, not even animals, not weapons. So this shows what happened in our internal heart when we really take spiritual life sincerely or seriously, because all our false support system where we are living so far before we start our spiritual life, like our false ego, pride, strength, our false identity itself, our controllership, our attachment get broken down. Because when we start, because the spiritual life sincerely, we comes into the anarth nivriti stage. And this anarth nivriti stage, all things where we are deeply attached to, all our impressions, our vasanas, where we deeply attached to, cleaning process happen and we get broken down. So if we relate here, just like a war, in the war, warrior lost their weapons, decorations, lost their pride, false identity. And so similarly, we also lost our because we in our material life we have given certain designation labels to us, like I'm a father, I'm a best, I'm superior, I'm controller, I'm a man, a woman, I'm rich. So all these false designation connected to our body, and all these false identity must cut off before our real surrender, our real bhakti start, our real surrender to Krishna start, real surrender to Guru start. Otherwise, real surrender can never happen if we live with this, if we live with the dual personality. We will live with our pride also, and we want to do the pursuit in the bhakti also. That can never happen. So now, if I connect this dot to our Srimad Bhagavatam story of Indra. So Indra, being a king of a heaven, he was so puffed up that he ignored his own spiritual master, Brihaspati, and then he lost everything. If we have already heard the story, he lost everything. But this loss was not, we should not see as a loss. This was actually a mercy to him, because eventually it taught him the humility. In our life also, when we go through several failures, humiliations, and lot of words which we don't like we should consider some setbacks in our life, or some, difficult situation. So we should consider this is a Krishna's mercy, this is a Krishna's arrangement, because Krishna is trying to purify us. Krishna is trying to cut away our false pride and ego, just like in this battlefield. We should not feel like, oh Krishna, I'm doing the bhakti, I'm trying my level best, I'm surrendering myself to you, why you are giving me this harsh situation? We should think, whatever happened, it's Krishna's arrangement, and it's always benefit us. If we have that thought process, that means we have a complete surrender. Otherwise, we may think in one corner of our heart, we may blame Krishna, why it is happening with us. So in the next verse, 38, now what is happening in the battlefield? Because of the impact on the ground of the legs of the demons, demigods, and the wheels of chariots, particles of dust flew violently into the sky and made a dust cloud covered in all the direction of outer space, as far as the sun is there. And then what happened? Then a drop of blood being sprinkled all over the space, and then the dust cloud no longer float in the sky. So this shows the complete devastation in all the three words. It seems like. So when we relate this to our inner self, when we try to confront our anartha by our sincere introspect, whether are we still having a pride? Do we have a unwanted material desire? Do we have still envy? If we try to confront our anartha on a day-to-day basis regularly with a close introspect and under the guidance of our mentor and guru, it feels like our whole inner structure collapse. The reason is because we have lived our life with the ego, false ego, identity, because we always having an identity crisis in the material world. We look for our identity. We want to become famous. Attachment is there. Sense of controllership is there. All these things will be shaken when we are sincerely trying to surrender to Krishna. So that is where our internal structure start collapsing. And this collapse is not external. It's not visible. It is only internal collapse. But we should not be afraid of it. It reflects our struggle of spiritual life. When we try to become honest in our bhakti, when we try to become pure in our Krishna consciousness activities. I was referring on lecture, and there this speaker mentioned Bhakti Vinod Thakur, our Acharya, song. So the song says, Amara Jivan Sada Papirata. So what Bhakti Vinod Thakur is saying here, my life is full of sinful action. There is not even a little bit of goodness in me. So this is not showing his humility. He's feeling the pain in his heart, that how come he's still far away from Krishna. He's not able to tolerate that separation. That what it's reflect this song. So we should understand that brokenness, when we are broken in our heart, is not a weakness always, because it's a beginning of our real purification. As we have seen the proverb, like after a storm, there is a peace. This is a very famous proverb. So after this stage of internal collapse, when the anartha nivritti happen, the pure love for Krishna, appear. The birth of pure love of Krishna appear after this anartha nivritti stage. Next verse. Now, in the text 39, in the middle of the war, battlefield was full of fallen head, brave warriors, eyes were still open, arms, the helmets, earring had fallen off, and legs and thighs, strong like elephant trunk, were lying everywhere. So now if we compare this with in the inner meaning, so when we start to remove these bad habits, so we need to be very careful that we need to think, we need to stop our blaming attitude, bad way of thinking. But it's very difficult. It doesn't always happen peacefully when we are trying to clean our anarthas. It's not easy. Sometimes it feel like part of our identity, who we thought we are, being cut away. And it's a painful process, but it's a part of our growth in spiritual growth. It's a part of our spiritual growth. So what we can compare, the broken limbs, a scattered head represent our old habits, our old desires, our attachments, our prides, which are slowly we are trying to clean. But when we sincerely try, but because we are sincerely trying to close to Krishna, that is how this cleaning process progress. I can relate this with the story of Mragari. When Narad Muni instructed Mragari, because Mragari was a cruel hunter, he had a fun he tried to kill animal half, and just for a fun. But when Narada Muni instructed him, gave him the spiritual knowledge, so it was just like a sword cutting through his old habits. At first, he was very confused and scared. He did not know how can he live without this violence. He cannot survive. But slowly his heart purified. His personality changed, and he became humble, and he eventually devoted to the Lord Krishna. So similarly, just like a broken arm on the battlefield is just like his old behavior, Mragari old behavior, which is left behind in the battlefield itself. And the new peaceful person birth happened. And similarly, we can connect with the Jagai Madai story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Next verse, text 40. Now, text 40, we say like in the battlefield, many warriors were beheaded. Just their headless body still moved. And, and then with the weapon. So now you just imagine their head was cut off, and now their body is still standing and fighting, weapon in their hand, and this body is seeing from that cut head. They are already able to see. So it's kind of Prabhupada is describing it's a ghostly body, which just continues to fight, and they could still see through their eyes. So when I was reading, it's kind of very scary and shocking. So when we think like we have destroyed our ego, when we think we have destroyed our bad habits, but these bad habits reappear. They come back and attack us like a headless body on the battlefield. So sometimes we think, oh, I surrendered to Krishna. I left my old self. I changed a lot. But suddenly we feel our old friends, like, our anger, pride suddenly appear. Lust show up suddenly out of nowhere. Why this happened? It happened because these impressions are very deep rooted in our heart. These are the vasanas. They're still inside. We think we cleaned up, but whenever we clean our room also, it's not like in one cleaning. We need to clean daily. We need to clean daily, and deep cleaning required. And then these old habits, when they come back, they reappear. They try to control us, even if we don't want them anymore. So we can compare these bad habits are compared to these ghost soldiers. And it doesn't mean that we are failing here. Like, because if it reappear, we should not get disappointed. Oh, my old habits are again coming back. I'm not progressing. We should not kind of disappointed in this. It means we should understand, it means we are in the middle of the war, and we need to fight. We need to continuous fight without give up. So story of Bharat Maharaj, and we heard this story from the Gaurang Darshan Prabhu also. Like Bharat Maharaj was in a bhava stage, and still some old impressions attack him in the form of his compassion. He attached to the deer. So even the Chota Haridas, he was a devotee of Mahaprabhu, but he made a small mistake. He glanced the woman with some desire, and Mahaprabhu rejected him because Mahaprabhu could not tolerate that a renounced person can have such feeling. So when we compare headless trunk with a weapon, means our little desire, old desires can disturb us badly. So, I mean, so that's why practicing devotee have their weapons. So I was hearing Mohan Rupa Prabhu, and he mentioned all our practicing devotee had the had the rifle, had the gun with the 108 bullets, and they can fire continuously every time, and we need not to reload the bullet. This bullet reload happen automatically. We can keep on firing these bullets, these 108 bullets, and we can keep we can stay away from the Maya. So now we'll cover, as we have lack of time, so we'll try to cover next four verses together, text 41 to 44. Now what we are seeing in these four verses, Maharaj Bali fiercely attacked Lord Indra with the rain of powerful arrow, not just at him, but also to his Airavat elephant, Indra's elephant. But Indra was calm and composed because he has a full faith on the Lord Narayana. And he was able to counterattack every weapon of Maharaj Bali. Even he was smiling during that time. So this made Bali Maharaj more furious because his ego was hurting. And in anger, he took up a blazing weapon, like different weapon, like Shakti weapon and all. But Indra was so patient, he was able to cut all these weapons into the pieces right from his hand. Even he was not able to throw those weapons, he was able to cut. So what we can understand here with these two personality, that Bali Maharaj represent the anger and ego, and Indra represent the calmness and intelligence. So this is a fight between the anger and calmness. So it teaches us how one should deal uh, during the hardships and setbacks. We should behave like an Indra. We should respond without panic. So we should consider in our practical life, when we are attacked by insult, frustration, failures, we often react like Bali Maharaj. At least I do that. And because I feel like very emotional at that time. I feel sometimes aggressive. But a spiritual maturity means being like an Indra, stay calm, stay tolerant, stay humble, cool-headed, and always sharp in response. The second point, what I can think of, we should never fight ego with more ego. So here, Bali Maharaj increasing his attack because he lost control because of his ego. He was very angry that Indra counter attack was so powerful. But Indra was stayed calm throughout the fight because his faith was in the Supreme Lord, that he know Krishna will save him because he surrendered to Krishna. Krishna will save him from any kind of adversity. Similarly, when we pride our challenges, our ego, when our pride is challenged by some external factor, our ego pushes us to defend ourselves further, harder. But we need to remember the verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarurapi Sahishuna. We need to be tolerant. We need to be stay grounded, not reacting blindly. We need to think twice before reacting on it. And then third point, I can think like spiritual intelligence is always stronger than the raw power. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 6.5 that our mind can fight us like a Bali, and it can also fight us like an Indra. It depends how we are training our mind. If we are training our mind like a Bali Maharaj, then our training is not correct. If we are training our mind like Indra, currently in this situation, present situation, that means we have a full faith in Krishna's word, Krishna's name, and our Acharya's instructions. And then we'll cover the last two verses, text 45 and 46. Now, after Bali Maharaj lost in the direct battle with Indra, now what he's trying to do, he's trying to create the illusion, demonic illusion. Instead, because he understood he cannot fight with Indra like that. What he did, he created a fake mountains above the demigod head. And then from those mountains, Burning trees are coming down, sharp stone rain down, and it's hurting the soldiers of demigod soldiers badly. So let's understand what these each things represent. Like let's understand the symbolic representation of mountain in our inner life. So these mountain represent a huge problems or huge setbacks in our life. Something that feels it's heavy or very impossible to avoid in our life. It's very difficult. Some hardship time in our life, a phase of our life. And then these burning trees represent like sometimes painful thoughts or some emotions came to in our mind, that these emotions are with like anger, some guilt in our heart, grief is there, and that fall us suddenly, that trap us suddenly. And then these sharp stones are like a hurtful words of others or insult, humiliation or negative mental attack happen, and they also strike us badly. So even though these attacks look real, because these are all illusion created by Bali Maharaj. So similarly, we need to understand all these situations in our life may look real, but they are created by illusion or external energy of Lord, because that this external energy, this illusionary energy is testing us. How far, how much progress we had made, how much purity we have, how much surrender we have to the Krishnas. And they come in the form of false ego, fear, pride, all those six anartha, like our inner enemies. So we should never consider these things are coming from Krishna, not from Krishna. But it's a supreme divine arrangement. It happened in our life to test our purity. We can take a real example. Sometime, we try to give up some bad habits like wasting time in mobile, internet, and engage in the material activity, because we want to be sincere in our practice. And then someday, like feel like, oh, we are practicing, doing good. Okay, today I'm feeling very lazy. Let me relax. It's only one day. I'm just taking an example. Okay, if I don't read today, it's okay, it's fine. I'm reading it. I have completed, these many cantos. Okay, I can take a break for a day. I can skip one day of reading, or I can skip one day of my service. These excuses come in our mind because our mind try to take us away. It's trying to distractions created. Mind creates a distraction, but we need to realign ourselves, as Gaurang Darshan Prabhu mentioned. We need to realign ourselves. We should not deviate from our path. So these thought process, these allurement from the mind are the burning trees and stones which are coming from our mind. As a final lesson, what we can understand from these 11 verses and from this whole chapter, I would say, just like demigod stood strong in this fight, we should also hold our ground in our spiritual path very strongly by intensifying, by increasing the temperature of our sadhana, by chanting sincerely, by following the instruction of our guru, having the faith in his word and follow his instruction, and try to walk in the footstep of our guru and previous acharya, and then read the scripture sincerely and chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I would like to pause here. Thank you for joining the class. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Very nice class.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.